Hello, welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. Now the clocks have gone forward in the UK today, and that's thrown all our timings out completely. I'm finding myself doing this video very late, so hopefully it won't be too late for you guys by the time I upload it. Now we're hoping still to do 2 videos today, but Mark has also had trouble today with his alarm going off. He's had to fix that, which is not easy when we're all quarantined. So yeah, I'm hoping there'll be a video late tonight from Mark as well. A couple of things to mention before we get into the incredibly interesting looking puzzle on the screen here, which is today's puzzle by Mesmer. Yesterday we launched our 2 puzzle hunts. So we had a junior puzzle hunt and an adult puzzle hunt. I'm delighted with the response we've had actually. The junior puzzle hunt is really going great guns, and we've had so many positive replies, a lot of correct answers, so well done. A lot of correct answers from adults as well, which is good to see. So have a look, do check out those puzzles. You can get them just by clicking on a link under the video. I'll put some links in there today. They're over on our Patreon site, but they are free, they're not behind the paywall. So yeah, just something to amuse you guys during self-isolation. The adult puzzle hunt is proving harder. We've had no correct answers to that yet. That doesn't surprise me at all, because I had to test that puzzle, which is created by my friend Neil Talbot. It took me many hours, I will tell you that. So yeah, do persevere with it. Some people have been asking how puzzle hunt puzzles work. Obviously for the junior puzzle hunt, we included very specific instructions as to how to solve the puzzles. For adult puzzle hunts, you don't get any instructions. You have to sort of work out the instructions, which can be very daunting. And yeah, it's something where you have to worry away at the puzzle for a while, but definitely worth your time. Now, before we get onto this puzzle, the other thing I wanted to mention is yesterday's video, where I don't think I did a very good job of explaining the rules of tense puzzles properly. So what I wanted to do was to have another go basically at doing that. And in doing that, I can also talk to you about how to get the software that we used to actually be suitable for tense puzzles. There is a way of doing that, and we had a very good comment from somebody yesterday who spent a lot of time sort of translating this site, and it's very helpful. So you can see what you do is you press this one, and then on this line you go to this one and you select the third option, the middle option. If you do that, tense comes up here, and that allows you, when you're entering cells, you can enter a tent like that. Click again, it enters a dot, which means there isn't a tent in the cell, and you can even do little lines to help you out, and X's on the borders, so it's absolutely perfect for tense puzzles. Now, the thing that was confusing people, I think, was that if we look, for example, at this square, and let's say we thought there might be a tent in that square, people thought it was possible for this tent to cater for both this tree and this tree. That is not allowed. Each tent must belong to its own individual tree. And actually this interface is much better for that, because if you decided there was a tent here and it belonged to this tree, you could actually join them with a line, which would mean that this tree hadn't yet got a tent attached to it. This would not count. So it would have to have its own tent. That tent couldn't be here, because that would be diagonally adjacent to this tent, and it would have to be there, and then you could join it up with a line. So each tree needs its own tent. It cannot share tents with other people. That's the critical thing to note. Now, what I might do, if any of you have a good tense puzzle you'd like to recommend, do send it in at crackingthecryptic@gmail.com. If I get time, I will attempt to put it into the Japanese software, and then we might do another tense video, maybe just for patrons at a future stage. So do send us in a puzzle if you have a good one to suggest. Now let's go back to today's puzzle. As I say, this is by Mesmer, and it's been recommended to me by Christoph Seeliger. Now, there is no one I trust more than Christoph for recommending puzzles, so I know this is going to be a good puzzle. Has very high rating on Logic Masters Germany, and you can see we need to talk about the rules. So it's normal Sudoku rules and normal Killer Sudoku rules, and you can see there are cages in the grid. Now in Killer Sudoku the basic rule is that, let's look at that cage for example, you couldn't repeat a digit in the cage, or actually this one's a better example because it's not all in the same column, so it wouldn't be possible for this square and this square to contain the same digit. Even though these aren't in the same row and they're not in the same box, they are in the same cage and you can't repeat a digit in a cage. So normal Killer Sudoku rules. Now you can see that there are mathematical operations going on between some of these cages. Now these operations apply to the cage totals, not the cell totals. So if we look at this one, you can see what this multiplication sign and this equal sign are saying is that the total contents of this box added together multiplied by this cell here, actually because it's in its own cage, will equal the sum of this cage here. So the mathematical operations are applying to the cage totals, not the cell totals. And apart from that, that's all I know. I've seen greater than and less than signs in Killer Sudokus before, but never without any cage totals, so this could be interesting. Do try it, have a go. You click on the link under the video, that will take you to this page where you can play along. And with that, let's go. Let's see if we can do this. Let's get cracking, as we like to say. Where do we start? Yeah, this is incredibly restricted, look. So we have a 3-cell cage plus a 2-cell cage has to equal a 1-cell cage. Well, the minimum I could make a 3-cell cage add up to would be 6 if I used 1, 2 and 3. The minimum I could make a 2-cell cage add up to would be 3 if I use 1 and 2. 6 plus 3 is 9, that's just good enough, isn't it? So that is forced. This 1, 2, 3 triple here, you can see there's definitely a 3 in one of these two squares, so this square is not a 3. So now we've got a 1 and a 2 in this box down here, so this has become interesting. So we've got a 2-cell cage multiplied by a 1-cell cage equals a 5-cell cage. So the maximum I could make a 5-cell cage would be 35 if I use 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So if this was 3 and 4, which is the lowest I can make this 2-cell total, this would have to be 3 and 4, this would have to be 5 then, so that would be 7 times 5 equals 35. Oh, but that's not going to actually that's false logic. Well, it's true, but it's not necessary for this to be 3 and 4. This could, in fact, this could be 4 and 5, and this could be 3, and that would multiply to 27. Okay, so I don't think this is where we're meant to look now. I think there's too much license. But look, this 1-2 pair hit that square, and that is important because yes, this 4-cell cage here, what's the minimum we can make a 4-cell cage add up to? Well, that's going to be 10. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. So this is 10 times at least 3. So it's the minimum value for this times this is 30, but it has to equal a 4-cell cage. Well, the maximum I can make a 4-cell cage is 30. So this is forced. This is 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is 3, which means neither of those squares are 3. That one's can't be 1 or 2, so this is a 4. Get rid of 4s from there. And 9, look, we can remove the 9s, so there must be a 9 in one of those two squares. Oh, and now we've got a single digit that must be at least 5 multiplied by a digit that must be at least 4 has to equal a 3-cell sum. So this has to be 5 or 6. If this is 7, 7 times 4 would be 28, and the maximum I could make these 3 squares would be 24. So this is 5 or 6. This is always 4, because if I make it 5 times, well, you can't do 5 times 5, but even if you could, it would be 25 and it would be too big. So that's a 4. There's a 4 down there. And this is either 24 or 20. Right, okay, but now let's look at this column. We know any column of a Sudoku, if we look at the finished solution, it will contain the digits from 1 to 9. That is fairly obvious. If you add up the digits from 1 to 9, you get 45. So I know that the yellow squares here add to 45. But I also know that this is either 20 or 24, and this, the minimum I could make this would be 15 with 5 different digits, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 add to 15, but these are equal to a 2-cell cage sum, so this can never be greater than 17. So this is 15, 16 or 17, and this is 20 or 24. But if this is 20, this can never be 15, because that will make this have to equal 10. If it's 16, this will have to equal a 9, but if this is 16, there's a 7 and a 9 in those 2 squares. There's only one way of making 16 in 2 digits, so that doesn't work. And if this is 17, that's the same problem. 17 plus 20 is 37. That makes this an 8. But in order to make this an 8, we've had to add an 8 and a 9 in this square to make 17. So this is 6. This is 7, 8, 9. It's a lovely puzzle, this. It really is. It's such a nice idea. Now, 7, 8, 9 here. So this is 24. If this is 15, that would make this a 6. And this could be a 7, 8. Ah, no, it can't be a 7, 8 because of this 6, look. That's 6. I should have removed the 7, 8 from here. So this can't be. This can't be 15 ever. If this is 15, I have to make this equal to 15, and it just can't equal 15. It can't be 6, 9, and it can't be 7 and 8. So this is not 15, therefore there is a 9 in one of these 2 squares. Right, so if this is 16, this is equal to 5. And if this is 17, this is equal to 4. But it can't equal 4 because of the 4 here. There's a 4 in one of those 3 squares. Nice. So this has to equal 5. This has to be a 7, 9 pair. This has to equal 8. Seven, 9. There's probably more stuff I can do here. I'm just not seeing it. There's an 8 over there, look. These 5 squares are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6. So there's a 6 in one of those 2 squares because the 6 is here. Oh, we've got a 1, 2, 3 here as well. So what this little square here has to be a 4 or a 6. Oh, and it can't be a 6 because of the 6 being here. So this is a 4. which means these two squares are 5, 6 and 7. Definitely a 5 in one of them. So we need 1, 2, there's definitely a 5 in one of those two squares because of the 5 here. That means that's not a 5, this is a 5, this is a 1 or a 2. It's amazing what you can get from some of these puzzles by worrying away at the grid. These are 1, 2 and 3. Oh, now what I need to do, look, I've got 4, 3 and 6 now in row 7. Now that impinges on the value of this one, perhaps usefully, because, yeah, this probably has to be 5. Let's check it though. It could be 5, 7, 8 or 9. But 9 plus, yeah, look, the minimum I can put in here is a 5. So 9 times 5, or 9 plus 5, sorry, is 14. That square would have to be a 3, and that would immediately break this total, because 14 times 3 is over 40, and the maximum I can make these squares add up to would be 35. This is not 9. If this is 8, 13 times 3 is 39, that's still too big. If this is 7, 7 and 5 would be 12. No, that still doesn't work. I'd still have to make this at least 3, and that's 36. So this is 5. This square here now can't be 5. And if this is 7, we know it's too big, so this must be 6. That gives us 11 here, so this can't be 4 because 44 is too big. This is 3. So this 5-cell total now is 33. But it's 33 without including a 3. Because we know there's a 3 in one of these two squares, and there's a 3 here. So I cannot put a 3 in this box. So the only other way of making 33 in 5 squares is 4, 5, 7, 8 and 9. So the 4 must go there because of the 4 here. These now the 9 must go here. These squares are 5, 7 and 8. Let's put that in. This 5 means that's this 9 is now ruling out the 9 from there. That can't be a 5. That's not 4 anymore, obviously. These squares here have got to be 7, 8 and 9 in some order. Now we've got a greater than sign, so this can't be 9 and this can't be 7. 7, 8, 9, 5. 9s, there must be a 9 in one of those 3 squares. There must be a 6 in one of those 2 squares. Okay, so that is good stuff. And a very good puzzle. Now, what do I do next? Oh, now, hang on, I haven't looked at this sum yet. I've got a single digit number plus a 4-digit number equals a 3-digit number, but I have a 1, 2 and a 3 in here already. So this total is not trivial. 4, 5, 6 and 7 would be the minimum. That adds to 22. Oh, okay. So if this is the minimum I can make this add up to is 22. So the maximum this square can be is 2, because I can't go over 24. So this is a 1 or a 2. This is either 23 or 24, so it always includes a 9. Therefore, that is a 9. Therefore, this is a 9. Therefore, this is a 9. Nice. And this is either 6, 8 or 7, 8. There's an 8 in one of those 3 squares, so the 8 is always here. And this can't be a 7, so this is a 6, which means 23. So this is the bare minimum. This must be 1. These digits here are 4, 5, 6 and 7. 5, 6 here. So these are 5 and 6. These are 4 and 7. 7. This square here must be an 8. This must be a 7 because we've got 6 and a 9 in the row already. This is now a 6. This is a 9. 6 here resolves the 6 and the 5 there. That puts a 5 in that square, look. This must be a 1, 2 or a 3. This must be a 1, 2 or a 3. 7 here resolves the 7 and the 4. This must be a 1, 2 or a 3. 9. Oh, the 8s, look. Oh, so sorry if that's been hanging around there for a while. This squares are 8 and 9 now. Two, 3. Oh, the 3 here forces this to be a 3. The 1 here makes this a 2, this a 1, this a 1, this a 2. And there's no 6 in either of those squares, so we're tidying up some of the pencil marking. These squares have got to be 2, 4 and 7. These have got to be 3, 5 and 6. There's no 5 in the top row. A 4 in one of that's interesting. There's a 4 in one of these two squares, and that's subject to a multiplication. 2, 3. And now actually if we look here in this column we need 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now this square, which is interesting because it's part of a multiplication sum, can't be a 1, so this is a 2, 3 or a 4. And we know there's a 5, look, in there. So we've got so what can we do with that? Is this useful? So let me think about this. If there's a 5 in here, if one of these is a 3 as well, that would be 3, 5, which add up to 8. So then this couldn't be 9, or this total would be prime. We know it can't be a prime total because it's going to have to be the multiplication of a 2, 3 and a 4 and something else. So if this is 3, 5, this has to be an 8. This would have to be a total of 16. And then how would that work? This, well, given there's a 4 in here, oh no, it doesn't work. Oh, that's beautiful. It's beautiful stuff, isn't it? So if we make this 3, 5 such that we can rule out 9 by the prime rule, if we try 8, we have to make these add up to 16 somehow, or multiply to 16. So 2 would have to be multiplied by 8. Well, that would require both of these squares to be 4, given we know there's a 4 in the box. And 4 would have to be multiplied by 4. Well, we've already got 4 in there. We're going to have to add one more number in at least, so that's not possible either. So this is not 3, 5. This is 5, 6. That is lovely. Absolutely lovely. So this is 3 at the top now. So if this is 5, 6, we can't make this prime. So this has to be 9. That's 8. So that's not 8. That's not 9. These add to 20. So this is never 3, obviously. If this is 2, these have to add up to 10, and they can't because of the 6 there. So this is a 4. These have to add up to 5. That means we need a 1 and a 4. How nice is that? Now, Now these two squares are 2 and 3, and the greater than sign resolves it. So that's 3, that's 2. That must be a 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 4 here obviously fixes the order of the 4 and the 1. These two squares have got to be 2 and 3, so we can do that as well. That can't be 2 anymore. That can't be 4 anymore. That can't be 1 anymore. Have we done all of the arithmetic now? I think we might have done. That's 1, 2, 3 from the columns, look. This 2 here means that up here we need 1, 4 and 8 to complete. So this must be 8 because it can't be 1 or 4. These two squares are 1 or 4. This must be 1 because of the 2 in the box. That fixes the 1 and the 3. That fixes the 2. That fixes that's a 2. That fixes all that up there. Look, 4 and 1 into those squares. This must be 3, 6. Again, we can do that. That fixes the 6 and the 5. Locks a 5 into one of those squares. 9 fixes the 9 and the 7. I think we might be on the home straight. Hope so. Hope I haven't made a mistake. I have loved this puzzle though. It's really, really interesting. 2 here, so this must be a 2. That must be a 6. Now this is a 6, which means that's 7, 9, 5. Just unwinding pencil marks. 5, 7 there. This must be 7, 8, 5, unwinding pencil marks. 8, 7 here. Now hopefully 1, 8 is going to finish this off. 8 there, 1 there. Check. Yeah. What a great puzzle, Mesmer. I really loved it. Come back tomorrow, or come back later probably, for another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.